So then after the seventh month, as you blow the trumpet, he says now, Leviticus 23 says, on exactly the 10th day of the seventh month, same month, is the day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation for you, and you shall humble your souls and present an offering by fire to Yahuwah. So we say the humbling souls fasting, right? And then there's a holy convocation for that. In the day of atonement, you can see at one men, right? For Yah to make men at one with him. So Yahusha was the atonement lamb that was presented every year to make the people to cover them for the sins that they did not knowingly, to make sure that the people stay right with Yah. So now Yahusha is that atonement lamb for us, right? But he says, you shall not do any work on this same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make atonement on your behalf before Yahuwah, your Elohim, or your El, I should say. If there is any person who will not humble himself on the same day, he should be cut off from his people. As for any person who does any work on the same day, that person I will destroy from among his people. So he says it's a very important time for you to remember. And in 31, you shall do no work at all. It is to be a perpetual statute throughout your generation, saying forever, in all your dwelling places, right? So he wants us to continue to do these things forever, right, as a sign of his return. So this is way back during Moses' time that Yah already had this plan to redeem his people, even through the Messiah, way back there through these feast days. And these are those things that he's trying to establish for us to remember that. That's why he said perpetually, forever, right? In 32, it says, it is to be a Sabbath, talking about a high Sabbath of complete rest to you, and you shall humble your souls on the 9th of the month at evening, from evening until evening, you shall keep your Sabbath. So that's also important, right? It just shows you that the day starts at evening, right? So the 9th of the month is the 9th, right? And then at the end of that 9th day is evening. Evening is going from one day into the next day. So now you're going from the 9th day into the 10th day during that evening, that night, during that transition of the sun and the moon. So you're going from the 10th, the end of the night is the 10th, that evening, into the next day. And that is the day of the atonement that needs to be that is supposed to be celebrated even today. All right, so next. And we know that even in the New Testament, it talks a lot about that, right? For, it talks about what Yahusha did for us, talking about even how we were sinners and how he saved us through the shedding of his blood from the wrath of Yah. So, that even another time, the trumpet is kind of like the shofar is also like a time of war. So if you start thinking about Joshua, they blew the 7 trumpets, right? The priests. And during those 7 trumpets, they actually walked around the Jericho and they blew the trumpets, and then the walls came tumbling down and they came to fight, right? So Yahushua or Joshua is the same name. You'll see even in some Bibles, they could get kind of confused about how to translate the word Joshua versus Jesus. So, if you look in some Bibles, they would translate Joshua when they're talking about Joshua of the book of Joshua. They will try to say that they will try to say they will interpret in New Testament his name. They'll translate it as Jesus. So they'll have Jesus for both, and some of them they'll have Joshua, and then they'll have the name Jesus separate. So, but it's the same name. So that's the reason why that's the reason why his name is Yahusha. It means Yah's salvation. So you can see that actually when Moses changes Yahusha's name or Hosea's name, that's Husha. Same names. Prophet, Hosea, Husha, all these names are the same. But you can see how you put Yah in front of it, Yahusha, right? And so Joshua was symbolic of what Yahusha was what he was going to come and do. Actually having the war on the earth. So that's the reason why people are, scared, hiding in caves and stuff. And you can see in Revelation that they give out, he gives 7 horns to the 7 angels that's going to blow, and there's going to be terrible things that happen on the earth, right? So that's the wrath that Messiah died for us to save us from. When we say we saved, what we say, we're saved from the wrath of Yah that's going to come upon these earth. That's what we're saying. That's part of salvation, is to become that new creation through him, to live a new life, as we talked about that new covenant, to make sure that we're basically entering back into the purpose that Yah has created us from the beginning, to honor him, to live for him, and not live for the things of the world. That's going to lead to death and the destruction of the world as well. All right. So next, it talks about even how Yahusha was actually the sign of that free good gift as well, and that's going back even to Romans 5. So you can actually read through that as well about how that word there, it says in verse 11, and not only this, but we also exult in Yah through Yahusha HaMashiach, the Messiah, through whom we have now received the reconciliation. So that's the atonement. Actually, in some Bibles say the atonement, there. Therefore, just as through one man's sin entered into the world, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because of all sin. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who had not sinned in the likeness of the offense of Adam, who is a type of him who is to come. But the free gift is not like the transgression. For if by the transgression, by the one that the many died, much more did the grace of Yah and the gift by the grace of one man, Yahushua HaMashiach, abound to many. So basically, it's just talking about how he died like as that atonement lamb to die for our sins, to allow us to get back in front of a holy holy God that basically can't have sin among them. So that's the reason why it's so important for us to give our life to through Yahusha, because of what he did as the atonement. So why don't we keep this feast day when it comes to Christian churches and stuff? Why don't they keep this feast day when it points back to the Messiah? And it shows you why it's so important for us, even in our understanding of who we are now as Israelites, how it basically is so important for, because there's no temple, right? That now this is what establishes our forgiveness of sin, and what we're trying to do is to be redeemed, to go back to Yah and live a holy life before him. So that's the reason why this feast day is so important, to set ourselves, what Yahushua did to set us at one, set Yah at one with men, right? So that's the Day of Atonement.